following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Whoa, I can't believe I made it. I was in prison at Shawshank Prison last night for incarceration. And as you can see, I escaped. I had to escape at like 3 a.m. to get on a plane to get to the studio here for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio. And what an adventure it's been. So we're going to talk about that adventure. We're going to talk about upcoming adventures that are coming up in a few days. And we have two major announcements, not just one, but two major announcements that we're going to talk about. And then later on in the show, we're going to have the pet health guru who's going to talk about some great pet health tips, especially raising them from babies all the way up to adult and senior dogs. But before we get started, let's bring on our resident non-alien, Juan. Because I'm the alien, I'm getting deported. Okay. So I was supposed to get paroled from Shawshank last night. And everybody left at like 2 a.m. So I knew I wasn't getting paroled. And so I just escaped. And then I had to drive straight to the airport. And then I got here, I landed, I drove straight to the studio. And now we're here to describe what it was like at Shawshank Prison this weekend. Would you like to know, one?
I would love to know.
And that's why I said the resident non-alien, because you're the non-alien. I'm the one getting deported. Because before I talk about the weekend, two announcements. One I'll talk about now, one I'll talk about later. But the one I want to talk about now is there's a new stop added to the Pipeman Radio Tour because I am getting deported to Germany, to Wacken, Germany. And I'm being forced to go to the Holy Land of rock and metal, the biggest rock and metal festival in the whole world, which, by the way, up until now, out of the top 8 biggest rock and metal festivals in the world, 6 of them were on the Pipeman Radio Tour. Now it's 7. One more to go. But thank God I'm getting deported, because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten approved for the credentials. So
I like how you say you're being forced.
I listen, I don't even know what's going on, man. I've never been to this festival. I don't even know what's going to happen. I don't even know what's going on. But I am going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about it in upcoming shows too. But first, we need to talk about incarceration. Okay? So Thursday morning, I started my journey at 4 a.m. I don't know what's wrong with me. I need to go to a therapist because I keep taking these flights where I got to leave the house at like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And I don't even go to sleep till 1. So like it's really not beneficial. We're lucky I'm even able to do it. And can you hear my voice, Juan? This is not it's not just from festival dust. It's not from no sleep. You know what it's from, Juan?
Too much screaming at the festival?
No, the first 2 days of the festival, the frickin' Canadians attacked the festival with their stupid forest fire smoke. You know,
Oh no.
like, come on, what did we do to you? And
You tried to make them the 51st state.
literally, if you saw in the news, Juan, okay, this is the disaster. I was going to like the apocalypse, going to Mansfield, Ohio. Like the Pipe Man doesn't even really belong there anyway, even though I like a lot of people there. It's not really where the Pipe Man should be, except if I'm being incarcerated. Okay. But okay, I get there Thursday. We have the pre-party. Literally, the smoke was as low as the ground. It was everywhere. And listen, I like a good campfire. This did not smell good at all. At all did it smell good. And it was dangerous. The highest I saw, it could have been higher, was 700. Do you know how dangerous that is for breathing? You're
I
shaking.
mean, with or without allergies.
No allergies. Like that would, like literally under 100 would be almost normal. Like even at 56, it's a hazard to your health. Like I should be dead. We were all breathing in this crap, and who knows what leftover is in there too. And so yeah, and then doing interviews. Of course, I'm talking all day, breathing that Canadian wildfire smoke. Like, dude, keep your fires in your own country. Like,
Unless they want to burn something else and share with the class.
so yeah, I don't know if you saw the news. The whole Midwest was like blank. It was bad. It was bad. But what was even worse, I keep wanting to say, you never saw this show. You probably saw the movie, but Land of the Lost. You know Land of the Lost?
I think there's a movie called
There is,
that, right? Yeah.
yeah, but it was named after a TV show. Okay.
Okay.
And basically they go down this river and end up in prehistoric times with the dinosaurs, but there's also these other, I don't even know what you would call them. They're like lizard men, I guess. Reptilians.
Reptilians.
They were the original reptilians. Oh my God, I never put that together till just now. That's unbelievable. Okay, so
And the conspiracy is older than the conspiracy itself.
I know, right? And so they had these things called slee stack.
Mm.
And you didn't want to deal with the slee stack. Okay. But they were like they could have been reptilians. But anyway, I don't even know where was I going with that, Juan?
I have no idea.
Well, where were we? See, you're not even paying attention. 'Cause you
Canada
would know
spoke.
if you're paying. Yeah, if you're paying attention, you would know. Okay, so like, pay attention to the show, will you? I can't be expected to remember everything on no sleep for 4 days. Okay, so yeah, we were smoked out. It was the Great American Smokeout, but I do forget why I was going with the slee stack. There was a reason for the slee stack, and it had to do with the Canadians. Maybe their slee stack. I don't know. But that's what it is. It was the other disaster going on in Ohio. Okay? The Cyclops. So it wasn't Land of the Lost. It was Sinbad. You got to go back in history and watch the Sinbad movies with the
Okay.
Cyclops, okay? Okay, but it's not Cyclops. Can you tell what I'm talking about by me saying Cyclops?
I know
What
what a
else?
Cyclops is, yes.
What else was really like Ohio was the worst in the United States. And it was all your fault, Juan. Okay?
Was it?
It was. They proved it was your fault because it was from a supplier of Taco Bell in Mexico.
Well, they keep saying that, but
Are you moonlighting? Are you moonlighting on the station and working in Mexico at night and like putting these parasites in Taco Bell's lettuce?
Gotta do what you gotta do to pay these bills, right?
Well, Ohio was the epicenter. Like a friend of mine got it on June 22nd, and they only got better like 2 days before the festival. It was all over. So you had smoke and parasites.
So the
God,
question
why
is,
do I go to
why are they
Mansfield,
blaming?
Ohio?
Why are they blaming the parasite now? Hasn't Taco Bell always done that to people?
I don't know. Well, okay. I don't know if you read the news, but the scientists gave a scientific term to the symptom that you get. One of them.
Explosive.
Explosive diarrhea. Okay. Like that's the scientific explanation of your main symptom, explosive diarrhea. I want them to define for me what explosive diarrhea is. Like, diarrhea is bad enough. Is explosive like, it's really bad and you're farting at the same time? So the farts are pushing the diarrhea out? Is that why it's explosive?
I kind of feel like that on the day that they named it, it was like bring your child to work day, and they let the child name because that cannot be like the scientific name for it. There's got to be something else. And then a 4-year-old came out and said, "Oh, it's explosive."
That's what we'll say. So I had to dodge smoke death, Cyclops death. Well, not death, just explosive diarrhea. Maybe death if I had explosive diarrhea on some 6'4" dude. I did almost get into a fight, by the way. Do you want to hear about that?
Sure.
Well, so I was going back in after evacuation. Hey, we had another evacuation. Go figure.
That seems to be very, very common when you're around.
Okay, so first day. Okay, wait. Let's back up for a second. Then we'll go into the good stuff. But I get there. Pipeman arrives in Mansfield, Ohio, and there's smoke in the air everywhere. Okay, and the first day was delayed. I've never had this experience. Delayed due to smoke. I mean, it's smart because listen, I was asking some of the singers, like, how are you going to sing in that? Because that's got to be horrible. So I don't blame them for delaying it, but wow, nobody would believe you. Excuse me, we're delayed now for smoke. Will you please stop smoking and then we could start the show? Thank you. And then, okay, so then the second day, oh my God, did the Pipeman have an adventure? The second day, the smoke was bad in the morning, but it cleared up. Okay. By the time it cleared up is when we were having, once again, I'm in the middle of an interview and it goes code yellow and then code red. Now, mind you, the day of smoke, that night, we were in threat by a code yellow. Never went to code red, thank God. It waited till Saturday. Like, you can only have one disaster per day, okay? Pick one, okay? So basically, then next thing you know, good thing I was almost at the end of the interview, though. And she came up and put up the sign that said code red. Because at Rockville, it wasn't a sign. She made the sign specifically because of me, okay? And because last time, Mike, so there's two people that run the media tent and their husband and wife. The husband wasn't there at Inkcarceration, but he came up while I was doing an interview at Rockville and he said red. He might have said code red, but all I heard was red because I'm doing the interview. And I'm like, but I already interviewed them today. Because I did. I interviewed Red earlier today, so I thought he was telling me my interview for Red was there, and I had to end this interview. But no, it was a code Red. And you guys got to listen to the interview with Psycho Stick because we were code Redded during that interview. It wasn't the only one either, but that was funny as shit. The reaction by that band. Okay, they were freaking out. Okay, so and we almost got kicked out because we weren't ending the interview when we were supposed to evacuate. All right, so I really did escape from Shawshank, and I'll tell you why. Like last night, I didn't escape. I got paroled. Okay, that's different. I got paroled so they could fucking deport me. Like, it's rude.
So you're getting extradited.
I can't get extradited if it's to a place I've never been. Oh, wait. Yes, I can. No, I can't get extradited. I could get deported because now we do deport people, just because of their ancestry to countries they've never even seen in their life. So that there's a difference. You got to know the difference between being deported and extradited. Extradited is when you're brought back. Okay. So, like, example, we will extradite a criminal that we deport to another country. If they don't punish them, then we'll import them back, like El Chapo. Perfect example. That's what Escobar was so always afraid of, extradition to the United States. And so he built his own prison to avoid that. Can you imagine that being able to build your own prison?
I mean, do you get to get on in the plans and put your own tunnel there, or?
Oh yeah, he did. He had control of the place. Like that was the cushiest prison sentence ever. But and he was having sex all the time and not with the other inmates. with his harem or whatever. But yeah, so seriously though, what a weekend. Saturday, we get evacuated, okay? And so you had two choices. Evacuate to your car or evacuate into the prison. My first choice was like, fuck, why am I going in my car? I'm going to evacuate inside the prison. That's much cooler, especially because it's haunted, which we'll talk about that. But anyway, yeah, that was a bad idea. Just saying. Just because something sounds cool doesn't mean it's a good idea. It was a sweat box in there. They were torturing us like they tortured the inmates of the Ohio State Reformatory. And I texted the person that runs media. I'm like, I'm contemplating escaping prison. I swear to God, that was my exact words. And she goes, what did she say? Something escape with an exclamation point. I gotta pull it up. Let's see. Hold on, dude, because it is a real text message conversation. I'm not making this shit up. So I gotta at least do it word for word. So let's see. Where is it? There's so much that was going on. I have a lot of scrolling to do to get to it. Okay, so here it is. I say that, and she says, "Try to escape!" Exclamation point. And I said, I already asked and was told we could. So I asked, listen, at least I asked permission to escape. You got to cross some palms, but, whatever. You just give them a few tunas or something. And then she goes, whew, escape the prison, exclamation point again. So I did. I thought it was good advice on my part. I thought it was good advice on her part. In theory, it was good advice. But here's what happened. So I go out to a parking lot and I'm looking for my vehicle within the thousands of vehicles. That's not my vehicle. It's a rental car. But see, I'm always smart. I take pictures, but it's starting to rain. So now you can't see shit. And then I found out later that the place was the cars around me that I took the pictures of, they were gone.
Oh no.
We evacuated and decided to dip out. So as I'm walking around with my equipment, because that's what I thought about. Oh, good idea, because I can get rid of my equipment. I'm done with interviews now because we got evacuated, so I could just put my equipment back in the car and not worry about it. Well, that plan didn't work out that well because, see, I kept walking around the area that I know where it is, and I can't find it. And then I'm hitting the panic button on the key, and there's no sounds happening. And then it starts to pour. So I decided to take shelter in the outhouse. And the reason I did that was closest thing I could see. I went to the outhouse so I could grab the poncho out of my bag to cover over my bag. I didn't care about me, but I was going to cover the bag. Now, let me tell you, I had some psychic abilities before the festival because normally the bag I bring to the festival is not the bag you normally see me bring into the studio. They're two different bags, but this bag here is water resistant because it's made for, the beach and surfing and stuff like that. And it kept going through my head before I left to use this bag instead of the other one. And sure enough, good thing, because while it was raining, soaking me before I could get to that outhouse, it was basically protecting the equipment. Because when I finally got to the outhouse, nothing was wet inside. The backpack was wet, but the inside wasn't. So then I put the poncho on, put the backpack back on, put the poncho on over the backpack. I was already soaked at this point. My shorts were as soaked as if you pulled them out of the washing machine and maybe didn't do the spin cycle. Same with my same with my t-shirt, and my socks and shoes were soaked from all the grass was really tall. It's a field. It's not like normally a place people go. So walking around in that. So I had to walk around the rest of the night. My shoes still, okay, I left them at the hotel with the air conditioner yesterday. They're in my suitcase now in the car. I think they'll finally dry up here in Florida. They're still wet, but I'm always smart. I always bring a backup pair of sneakers just in case, because we're always getting evacuated. There's always storms, mud, whatever. Okay. So once again, was smart, did that. Then after that, I finally was able to find the car, because what I did, I should have thought about this before, is I looked at the picture and I matched it up to the trees. And so it was perfect because I found exactly where the car was based on how the trees were in the picture. So find the car. By this time, it's too late for me, but at least the equipment was safe. And then we go back in. We're going back in to go back to the original part of the story of almost getting into a fight. I'm staff. So I don't wait online in GA to get in. And the line wrapped around the parking lot for it was probably a 2-hour line, I'm thinking.
That's worse than Disney.
I had to get back to work, okay? So I walk up the side, by the banister, and I feel bad, because I don't want people to think I'm cutting. So, I'll say stuff and I'll talk to the security guard. Yeah, I'm staff. I'm making sure it's loud enough that they know. There's this one dude, must have been 6'4", 400 pounds. Those are the people that I like to open my mouth to, too, by the way. It seems. But he had his arm by there. He probably saw me coming and put his arm there like I'm not going to pass. So I just tapped on him. I said, excuse me. I was polite with everybody. I'm working. Can I get by? So he begrudgingly lets me go. But then, what a wussy. I'm 5 foot nothing, a buck nothing, even soaking wet in that storm. And he waits till I'm I don't know, I would say 10 yards away and says, oh, yeah, sure, working while you're drunk. Now, I didn't have anything in my hands. And I rarely drink. There was nothing I said that led him to believe I was drinking. And I said, no, here's my credential. And I am working and I don't drink, but thanks for opening your mouth. And he goes, I was just kidding. Calm down, buddy. No, you weren't. You weren't just kidding. And mind your own business. Bye. So,
You weren't drinking, you were drowning.
exactly. Maybe he thought I had alcohol all over my wet clothes. I don't know. Anyway, so that was that experience. And later in the night, I had to go find my car again, which wasn't that difficult because now I knew the guidelines, except it was dark and I'm in this field and I'm walking and there was a hole about, it was like a 15-gallon hole. If anybody can relate to what size that is, that's a huge hole. That's the hole you dig to plant a tree, okay, or a body, and or both. And so I'm walking, and then boom, stepped right in that hole. I'll tell you how deep it was. It went above my knee, and so and then I went down, hit my knee, and I heard my lower back go.
Oh no.
So I had.
That's not a sound you want to hear.
No, it isn't. So that was that day. Okay. So the first day was inhaling dangerous, toxic smoke from Canada. The second day was that. Third day was beautiful. The sun was shining bright. It was a beautiful day. Everything was good. However, I went on the Blood Prison tour, which is the haunted part of prison. But in it, you don't know if you're being haunted by the characters or real ghosts, because the prison's haunted for real. Like on Saturday night, the Blood Prison music was playing at night, late at night, after all the Blood Prison people were gone and everybody in the reformatory was gone. And we even questioned everybody that worked there and nobody turned it on.
Free concert.
Creepy stuff like that. But when I was walking through it, and I'm the type, like, I laugh when they try to scare me in those things. And then, but I went through one room and definitely there was something messing with me that was not in that room. Just saying. Well, it was in the room, just not physically in this world. So there was that. But it was a badass festival. Like imagine, I don't know if you ever watched the movie, but it's one of the most iconic movies ever. Being able to hang out at Shawshank Prison. And I know a bunch of people got tattooed there because they wanted to have their first prison tattoo. Because it is a tattoo thing too, the festival. So if I got tattoos, which I don't, I would probably think that way too. But the music was just absolutely incredible. There's a bunch of interviews I did, even with all those shenanigans. There's like 14 interviews that you're going to be able to catch people on here. It's going to be here on the Adventures of Pipeman Live, but it's also going to be on our podcast on iHeart, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, and like over 100 others. Okay. So make sure to check out. You could go to the adventuresofpipeman.com and you can get the newest videos of any of my episodes, but you can get Inkcarceration podcast interviews on there within the next day or two. So keep your eye out for that. Okay. So now I said I was getting deported. So I'm leaving Sunday on the Pipeman Radio tour to the biggest rock metal festival in the world. I have been approved for the first time this year. And lucky I have a friend there. I'm like, you need to show me around because this place is bigger than the town we're in right now, pretty much. It's a huge festival. You know when the media tent I just found out today, you know when the media tent's open?
When?
From 10 a.m. till 3 a.m. So if you think I didn't get sleep this weekend, wait till I'm 6 hours ahead or 5. I think it's 6 hours ahead over there. Oh my God. No rest for the wicked. And then after that, I go to Bloodstock, straight from there to Bloodstock in the UK, one of my favorite festivals. That's going to be a lot of fun. And check out, they do this cool thing. It's called the Sophie Lancaster Foundation that they support. One of the stages is that, and that's because of somebody who was a a goth person that got attacked after a show and killed senselessly for no reason. So we show our support there. And on Friday of Bloodstock, everybody in the whole festival wears pink in honor of her. And then I said I had one more announcement. We're going to do that one more announcement, and then we're going to go to a quick commercial break of the Rocklahoma commercial, because that's the next festival after Bloodstock, Labor Day weekend, America's largest, best camping rock music festival. You could be there. You can win tickets from me, the Pipeman. Just go to Pipeman Radio on all socials and tell me why you want to go to Rocklahoma, and you'll be entered to win tickets to go to that show. But first, I want to tell you, the Pipeman's in a conundrum. He normally covers Riot Fest. He normally covers Louder Life. This year, they're the same weekend. And there was a major announcement made this weekend. It's all over the news. It was on Good Morning America. But Captain James T. Kirk, 95-year-old William Shatner, is going to debut his heavy metal band at Riot Fest. Not only that, he had a list of demands. Would you like to hear what his demands were?
Let's hear the demands.
Okay, I want Pet Health Guru to be involved in this, because I'm sure he knows James T. Kirk, and I have I got James T. Kirk got me through college, basically. Okay, because that was my only free time, working 80 hours a week and pulling 17 credits a semester at Rutgers. My free time was watching Star Trek. So here was William Shatner's demands. Rename a boat in honor of William Shatner so he can captain a ship again. The town of Chicago has to provide that, by the way. So Riot Fest has been writing him for 10 years to do this, okay? He's finally doing it, and he made demands from Riot Fest and from Chicago. Chicago also has to do one prominently displayed Riot Fest 2026 billboard with William Shatner's face and the face of one lucky fan. A classic Chicago food item to be named in tribute to William Shatner. William Shatner gets to co-anchor the weather outside with Chicago's most beloved meteorologist. William Shatner gets to sing "Take Me to the Ball Game" at a Chicago baseball game. That's what Chicago has to provide. Riot Fest must provide during the performance fire breathers, many of them, an intro video created by Guar, and an artist golf cart shall be replaced. Instead of an artist golf cart, he wants a DeLorean to bring him around the festival. And then for hospitality, Riot Fest must provide a dressing room, and it shall be themed as Shatner's Shag Shack to artist specifications. See 18.3 of performance contract. This is serious shit, too, by the way. It's not a joke. It's real. 4 feet of Polish sausage. 1 Montreal Canadian hockey sweater signed by John Stamos. 8 pallets of Fago. That's the stuff that Insane Clown Posse sprays at the audience. Not to be shared with Insane Clown Posse, it says. 1 pair of white tube socks and 1 pair of underwear. An assortment of this is where Pet Health Guru comes in. And it's so apropos for the show today. And an assortment of adoptable puppies sourced from a reputable local animal rescue nonprofit. And then a bouquet of flowers in a vase, something sweet, something dainty. And the last thing, which he had to remind the anchors on Good Morning America of, because he was talking to them, and they gave all the demands, but they forgot one. And he said, you forgot 1 bowl of sauerkraut in his dressing room ready to eat. And I didn't get that one until somebody informed me, and maybe Bill can confirm this or not. that apparently all the old people, they eat sauerkraut, and that they say that's the secret to living longer because of the probiotics. So now I'll switch it to you, Bill. Is that true?
Yes, it is. Fermented foods, we lived with them for generations, and they've eliminated them all by pasteurization. It's killing us. But another thing on William Shatner, as you know, Dean, I do a patch company. He was our oldest ever intern with that company.
Wow. Wow, that's
they
cool.
recorded it. They did a whole big promotion around it. He was the world's oldest intern for a company.
Holy crap. That is
He's
way
all over the
cool.
place. You know, hey, listen, I'm hoping I make it that long.
Right?
And with that kind of excitement.
Well, 90, and listen, now he's my hero. He was before, but now 95, and he's starting a heavy metal band. Oh my God. Like, I'm in such a conundrum which festival to go to because it's like once in a lifetime. And how cool would it be to interview Captain Kirk, but about metal? So what a great thing he's doing with the adoptable puppies. And so how apropos to what we're going to talk about today, and that's about our babies. Oh, my baby. What are these tips to have your puppies have a long-lasting life, Bill?
Adoptions have been around forever and ever and ever because, it used to just be called rehoming, and, you used to be you're shared with your neighbors, but now it's become a business, unfortunately, and a big business. And to find good quality animals, I mean, the purpose of a rescue, of course, we did a couple of events years, and we're in the very beginning where I brought up this question. And why do the rescues feel that they have to do all these procedures, chemical interventions, all of this sort of thing? And how come the veterinary industry is into it so deeply? If you're taking a dog from a bad place or a kitten from a bad place and putting it into a good place, that's admirable. That's what we want to do. That's what rescue's job is. But they go through and they start incorporating all these veterinary procedures and protocols into it, which, number one, raises the price, so that they can't do it affordably. Adoption fees go up and up and up. The other thing is many of the animals that are in rescue today are there because of the veterinary expenses. It's
interesting.
You can't, I have to, in fact, a lot of rescues as well. If you sign an adoption agreement, you have to do a certain number of veterinary visits, keep up to date with certain procedures, all of which have got documented histories of actually making the animal sicker. It's kind of like I'm creating customers through the kind-heartedness of people that want to help.
Yeah.
And that part of it is a really, really sad part of it. Now, I've been involved in rescue work for, probably 50 years. We actually do run a nonprofit, Lone Pine Rescue, which we've had for 20 some years. And our purpose is not so much to move animals, but ours is to try to teach them about holistic care and natural living, so they don't need the services of doctors and veterinarians. And we want to get them on the right track. Finding good, reputable ones is sometimes difficult too. I mean, they all look good on paper. Let's face it. I got a 501(c), and I'm running off of donations. But many of these 501(c)s, as you're well aware, and I am, basically they're created to create a paycheck for the person that's running them.
Yeah.
And so it's very difficult. You really have to dig deep and find those with the best reputations and that stand behind it. We do happen. I'm going to give a plug, which I never do, but we work with the Milk Drunk Foundation down here in South Florida, Miami, that does all neo care for really debilitated animals. And the founders of that were on the Pet Health Cafe show this past week and explained what they do and how they do it. And I mean, just the care of these animals is phenomenal. I mean, one of the founders of it, it's one of the few people I've ever found with the same passion that I have for helping animals.
Nice.
And, you know,
That's very hard. That's a needle in a haystack right there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, we try to work with as many as we can. We've always offered this, you know, different programs for rescues that want to work with us on getting those poor abandoned animals out in a healthy state and move forward. Let's keep these animals healthy and long life, and don't put an animal in, you know, coming out of a shelter into a family that may have all kinds of financial issues down the road because of what was done in that rescue.
Yeah, totally. So, what do you think of this idea too of William Shatner? Like, all the other items were kind of ridiculous, but he really was being serious. Like, he wants to help pet rescues, you know, and that's a condition. Wouldn't that be great if most artists or famous people took that strong of a stance to help animals?
You know, there's a lot of them that make a good claim out there, but, you know, unfortunately, most of them are tied to a commercial interest.
Yes.
And, you know, it's like every celebrity now wants to get in on the either having a forever home, you know, a ranch for animals, which most of it is bogus anyway. But also then they're all creating these brand new supplements and brand new foods that are supposed to be, you know, just super. And they're really nothing more than the same old stuff that's been out there forever. You know, but I'm putting my name on it and I'm making money off it.
Yeah. I think people don't realize, like, when they see something named after somebody or that they, you know, they're the sponsor person or the spokesperson, that they don't realize that that's what it's about. It's business. It's not like, you know, a passion.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly, you know, it's like, okay, I'm so-and-so. And when my dog Lulu got, you know, hip problems, I was looking for natural solutions. So I went to basically allopathic medicine and found somebody who was a little bit off the wall to help me develop a variation on the standard dog food and at a premium price. And this will actually save their life, maybe give them 1 or 2 years extra. Well, when you look at what that standard industry has done, they've taken the lifespan of our dogs especially, from between 20 and 30 years. We've added modern technology, modern medicine into it, and now the average is 8 to 10 years. That doesn't seem like progress to me.
No, not at all. Well, thank God we have people like you too. So you know, keep fighting the good fight for our little furry friends.
Every day, in every way.
and I see, you know, Juan shaking his head too, and so I have to say, and the guppies.
Absolutely. I'm working on a new formulation for guppy food.
See, there you go, Juan.
That I would be interested in, yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, you know, one of the favorite foods for guppies is baby guppies.
I was going to say other guppies, and I was going to be funny about it, but that's really what it is then.
Yeah.
Oh, do I want to help a cannibal?
Well, I mean, you know, there's a lot of animals that we don't think of as being carnivorous, but that they really are. But then, you know, there's another part of it, because I was doing some work over the last couple of weeks. And, you know, we're, as mammals, we think, you know, nurturing and, you know, mom raising you and everything else. But there's a lot of animals out there that as soon as they're pushed out or they hatch out or develop, are completely on their own. Parents have nothing to do with them at all. They're born with the instincts and the abilities to survive.
Well, thank God again, they have somebody like you that can educate people on how to not kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't wanna
like,
kill 'em
not
behind
on
it.
purpose, not on purpose, but listen, bad advice.
Yeah. I remember back, oh God, this is probably 20 or 30 years ago. One of the humane action groups went up into, I think it was Washington State or Idaho, up there in the Northwest someplace, to rescue minks. There was a big mink farm up there that they were raising the mink for, fashion, obviously, coats and hats and stuff like that. So, not knowing the animal themselves, they broke into this place, started opening up all the cages. And
Oh no.
mink are a terrible, ferocious fighter.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, 90% death rate in the first half hour. They
Wow.
killed each other because they're so territorial and they are carnivores. It was such a disaster. I mean, can you imagine that the group, their PR person, how they explain that one?
Yeah, exactly. That's a PR nightmare right there.
Yeah.
And that'll be followed by criminal charges.
Yes. Well, of course, they had trespassing and to start with, and disorderly conduct, and releasing the animals themselves under the animal rights code. Under the animal.
That would technically fall under destruction of property, right, for the business.
Yes, absolutely. And that was for kindness. We're going to release them and let them live free.
Oh my Lord, for kindness. Yeah, well, it's good you bring that up because there's sometimes people I've met in my life that, their heart's in the right place. They think they're doing the right thing, but really, because of their lack of knowledge, they're not really doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially now in the day of social media, where someone with bad knowledge or lack of knowledge will make a statement, and then that statement gets echoed throughout other accounts who believe that's the right statement because they agree with it, and then you just have a wave of misinformation going out there.
It's funny. I was just going to mention the same thing that I had a discussion this morning on social media, and they're talking. Well, this person is really knowledgeable and has like 9 billion likes and followings and everything else. And what are they doing? They're either showing a picture of an animal or talking about their own failures in life. It's okay to talk about failures to build somebody up and to show them a different way, but in many cases, these social media people too are just they're breeding on people's kindness and charging for a class, a book, or whatever, and that really does not necessarily contain a lot of facts. It's just my personal experience. Well, okay, your dog lived till 12 instead of 10. I did wonders when it was supposed to live to be 20. So what's the success rate there? What is the actual success?
Wow. Well, why don't you tell everybody about, Pet Health Guru, about Pet Health Cafe, about My Paleo Pet, and anything else you want to tell them about?
My whole arm length of different endeavors. Well, My Paleo Pet, of course, is our retail store and online presence. That's where we sell all the good merchandise, all the good herbs, botanicals, farm to table items, the pet foods themselves, although they're not pet foods, they're actually human foods, packaged for pets, USDA, certified, fit for human consumption. We do raw dairy as well, raw cow's milk, raw goat's milk, which a lot of people, even though it's labeled for not for human consumption, there's a lot of good, healthy kids out there that are growing up strong and healthy because of it. Pet Health Cafe, of course, is our podcast, and I use it also under my magazine articles. And now we're setting the Pet Health Cafe Media Center and Education Center, where we'll be able to have guest speakers coming in and be doing Zooms and different podcasts and that sort of thing to build up the business. As I mentioned, Lone Pine Rescue is still out there trying to help other rescues do the best that they can. And, myself, I do consultations on nutrition. We help both people and pets. So I'm kind of like all over the place, as you're well aware. We manufacture also the BioComplete line of foods and herbal products. So we're kind of multifaceted in with that. We found the problem where we need to improve the health and welfare of these animals through rescuing them, putting them on a species appropriate diet, using different herbs, botanicals, and natural means to help their bodies heal themselves, because medicine does not heal anything. The body's got to do it itself, and all we can do is provide the tools. So we're there for that. And of course, then put out a distribution system that we can ship it all over the country, to get this stuff into your hands as a listener and as a viewer to make your animal healthy. And then the consultations on the backside to make sure you're doing it right.
Well, I strongly suggest everybody check out your show, your podcast, and your store. Best ever if you care about your pet. It's the only place where your pet has a voice. And Pet Health Guru, don't go away. I want you to stick around till after I end the show. And right now, Juan, let's roll Rocklahoma.
It's here, Rocklahoma, celebrating its 20th anniversary, and for the first time ever, Slayer, and the return of Godsmack, and Papa Roach. Rocklahoma is back Labor Day weekend, September 4th through 6th, with Slayer, celebrating the 40th anniversary of Rain and Blood, Godsmack, Papa Roach, also Stone Temple Pilots, The Pretty Reckless, Black Label Society, Jet, Wolfmother, Hollywood Undead, Dropkick Murphys, and Cypress Hill. Rocklahoma 2026, 20 years. Slayer, Godsmack, Papa Roach, Stone Temple Pilots, Cypress Hill, and so many more. Labor Day weekend, September 4th through 6th in Pryor, Oklahoma. Go to www.rocklahoma.com for all ticket and festival information. Don't miss Labor Day weekend's #1 rock and roll party, Rocklahoma.
And you can come to Pipeman Radio on all socials and be entered to win tickets to Rocklahoma. And Juan, why don't you come back on here for a second? And we could bring Bill on too. If he can chime in if he wants. But, okay, so there's a connection between incarceration and Rocklahoma. And if somebody tells me on my socials what that connection is, then they will be entered to win. Now, Juan, do you know what the connection is?
They both have you banned from there?
No. I wouldn't be able to be going there on the Pipeman Radio tour if I was.
Well, that's why you're
banned
going
from
under a moniker, right?
Well, that may be true, but, they know the real me. I'm not Rebel. And so here it is. One of the interviews, I told you, everybody, check out the incarceration interviews. One of the interviews is with one of my favorites, Alien Ant Farm. And on my way to incarceration, on the plane, I was watching the new movie, Michael. And there's an artist named Paris playing at Rocklahoma. Bill, based on what I said, can you guess what the connection is between those two festivals?
Absolutely not.
How about you, Juan?
No, not
all right. Listeners, that's all the hints you're getting. And you got to go to Pipeman Radio on all socials, and you could win 2 weekend passes to the best camping rock festival in the United States, or so I was told. And I also want to talk about, okay, we talked about, I'm going to the granddaddy of all festivals, and that's Wacken in Wacken, Germany. They literally, it started as a little teeny nothing. They're so good at that in Europe, to like this massive thing that takes over the whole town, okay? So that's why it's called Wacken Open Air, because it takes over the whole town of Wacken. And then after that, I'm at Bloodstock, which is one of my favorite festivals to do all year for so many reasons. It's family run, and it's a family feeling. If you've never been there and you're going to pick one festival to go throughout the year, go to that one. It's in the UK. Greatest people ever. Greatest festival. Everything's close. You don't have to walk 10 million miles to get to each stage. So I kind of like that as a media person. And they talk about good causes. I mentioned it in the beginning of the show, but very important thing to me is that they really support this foundation called the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. Many, many years ago, it was big news that this girl and her boyfriend were jumped going home from a concert because they were goth, and the girl ended up dying. And that is Sophie Lancaster. One of the stages at Bloodstock is named Sophie Lancaster. And on Fridays, everybody wears pink in her honor. And they donate all kinds of stuff to the foundation. I have some cool shirts from the foundation. They have cool merch you can get to donate. So even if you can't make it to Bloodstock, check out the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. But let me give you an idea of the lineups at Wacken and Bloodstock. We'll talk about Bloodstock first since we're there. Okay, I'm not going to tell you all of them. There's a lot of bands playing, but I will tell you that Saxon's playing, Lamb of God's playing, Sepultura's playing, Municipal Waste, Biohazard, Fit for an Autopsy, Life of Agony, Vended, Bleed from Within, Slur to Prevail, Judas Priest, Body Count, that's Ice-T's metal band, Black Label Society, Testament, Orbit Culture, Kitty, and that's just to name a few. There's so many more, and they do this like Battle of the Bands thing to pick local bands throughout the UK to play one of the stages at the festival, which I think that's totally cool. A family-run festival supporting local talent. So you need to support Bloodstock. Go to bloodstock.uk.com. You can get your tickets, show your support, buy merch, whatever, or just follow them on socials. And then Wacken. What's to say about Wacken? The biggest in the world, unbelievable, deemed, they call it the Holy Land. And this year, I don't know what this is about, but on Wednesday, they're going to have Gaga Mania. I don't know. That sounds pretty exciting to me. Maybe. And then one of my favorites who I saw at Inkcarceration, Lacuna Coil is going to be there. Def Leppard, Sabotage, Europe, Yngwie Malmsteen, POD, Life of Agony, Judas Priest, In Flames, Saxon, Emperor, Sepultura, Black Label Society, Sabaton, Powerwolf, Arch Enemy, Lamb of God, Airborne. Funniest interview ever on the Adventures of Pipeman was with Airborne. Go look for that in my podcast. You will die laughing. They're the funniest dudes ever. Ailstorm, Triptychon, Thy Art is Murder, Nevermore, and oh my God, there's so many I couldn't even count them in the whole show. Go check it out. Go to wacken.com and you can check out the Wacken Open Air. I said Wacken because if you're in America, that's what you're going to think. You're going to think V by me saying Wacken. It starts with a W. And that's it. You heard it all. Pet health, Wacken, Inkcarceration, my parole, my deportation, and most importantly, the pet health guru right here on the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio. Make sure to tune in every Monday where we do more of the Positively Pipeman segment, motivational empowerment, and most importantly, the pet health guru with tips for human and pet health. Wednesdays when you get the real Pipeman coming out and a lot of the music stuff. And then every day there's stuff. So just pay attention to adventurespipeman.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Roll it, Juan.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.